Hey everyone, just an update. I've been working on Bollock Scalper. I've rewritten the code almost from scratch. I thought it would be more useful to have the indicator so it's just visible on the main chart rather than having it as a separate indicator, which you then have to, import the signals into another indicator, and it's just a bit messy. So this basically is an all-in-one indicator. So basically, and hopefully, as some of you have been seeing, Bollock Scalper has been pretty awesome at nailing entries for pair trading, MicroStrategy X and Tesla X. So one of the things that I've noticed it's not so good at is nailing the exit points. And that's purely down to the fact that we're using a 2-hour chart, and sometimes we have to wait up to 120 minutes for the exit signal to confirm. And obviously the ratio can move a lot in that time. So rather than using the signals as entry and exits, I thought it'd be useful just to use the Bollock Scalper as an entry signal. So for example, here the signal here is to swap, and then rather than wait for this signal to exit, what we're doing is we're creating these boxes for each swap, and the green box is your take profit area, and the red box is your stop loss. To stop you from losing too much if the trade goes against you. You can define these. I've set them to 4% for the take profit and 2% for the stop loss. But you can change them to whatever you like. So you can hit. So if we use this as an example here, on this candle, it told you to swap, and so here's the ratio. The price action's moving, and then here it goes all the way up to the top, and then it exits out of the top of the green box, and that's where you would then take profit, and you would make 4% on your swap that you did here. So that's the basics of it. And you might remember from Bollock Scalper that there was this signal here where it's this Bollock Scalper composite score that's going up and down, and this is in a separate window. But rather than having it down here, I put it up here. So this dotted line, it changes from red to green. Basically, it's using the green box as its kind of to determine the score or the composite score. So basically, when this line travels through the green box, as it gets nearer the top, that's basically the threshold that you're trying to get to. So if it exits out of this green box and then starts coming down again, then it will fire a signal, and that's when you close the trade. So basically, there's two different ways to exit the trade. One is you take profit when you hit 4% from your original entry point, or the Bollock Scalper signal exits out of the top of the green box and then starts coming down again. And when that happens, that's when the trade will close and you will take profit. Conversely, if the price action exits out of the bottom of the stop loss red box, again the trade would end and you would lose 2% of your position. So this is an example here where it's the price action exited out of the top of the box. So that's where we took profit. And in here this is a reverse one. So we're selling MicroStrategy and we're buying Tesla because we think that the ratio is going down, and that's exactly what happened. And so you can see here the Bollock Scalper composite score exited the green box, and that caused a swap signal to generate. Actually, at the same time, the candle exited as well. So kind of both things happened both at the same time there. And then here's an example of where you would have lost. So you would have swapped from Tesla to MicroStrategy expecting it to go up, and it did go up, but the composite score didn't go that high, and it actually started going down again. So you can see here that as the score goes down, also the candles are going down, and here we exit with a 2% loss. So here's an example of a win. You can see it's exiting out. So yeah, and you can see down here there's a little benchmark, so you can see out of all the trades that we're doing, it's winning 75% of the time out of the 12 trades we've done. Obviously, this is like using MSTR X and Tesla X is only basically about a month of candles to do the testing on. So we're only getting 12 trades in that month. So this is a really bad test. I just want to reiterate that this is working really well at the moment because of the nature of the price action. It's very sideways, but at some point, one of the two assets is going to start going up loads, and this probably won't work that well. But for now, it works pretty well. So I'm just enjoying doing the scalping. So if we come to the current price action, you can see here if we zoom in, what this is this green box here and this red box are basically the Bollock bands. So in the Bollock bands, you've got like these regions where you should do something in this region, and you should do something in this region, and you shouldn't do anything in this region. But rather than having the Bollock bands kind of all the way across the chart, which is kind of unnecessary, we're only really interested in the latest candle. So these green boxes and red box tell you when the selling zones are for. So for in this instance, MicroStrategy, you would sell in this zone. So anytime the candles or the price action's up here, you would sell, and anytime it's down here, you would sell. So this is just another piece of confirmation you can use. So what you're waiting for really is, let's say you entered the trade here, and you sold your MicroStrategy, and you went to Tesla. So now we're waiting for the candles to come down. But our take profit would be this point here. Or we're waiting for this signal, which is the Bollock Scalper composite score. Once it exits out of here, which it just has done, once that starts coming up again, we are going to see a swap signal here. So you would take profit even though this hasn't exited and you haven't got the full 4%, but you've still made, you would have entered at 1.214 and you would have exited at let's say 1.18. Yeah, so you would make 0.03 ratio on this one, assuming the signal happens at some point here. So the reason why we've got these Bollock bands regions here is because sometimes you might see some swap signals happening in this area here, and you can basically use these green and red boxes to determine whether or not you want to do the trade. Personally, I probably would avoid that. I would just do, when you see these signals, just make sure that this signal is in one of these two regions. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, and also, I mean, if you look at single assets, if you go to, so right now here, you can see this is the MicroStrategy selling zone. So you'd sell MicroStrategy here, and this is the Tesla selling zone here. If you go to a single asset for MicroStrategy, you can see here that it's got MicroStrategy selling zone, and you've got MicroStrategy's buying zone. So you can use this not just for pair trading. You can also use this for just scalping a single asset, or even shorting if you want. So yeah, hopefully that helps. I'm just testing this. You can see the performance isn't very good for quite a lot of assets. It just works particularly well for MSTR X and Tesla X at the moment. But what you can do though is you can dial in. I mean, I've dialed in the settings specifically for these two. But if you go into the settings, you can dial in all of the MACD and RSI and the moving average settings to get better performance for other assets. You can also tweak the Bollock band settings here. So these are the settings I use, and you can change those to whatever you like. And by doing that, you'll get different win rates. Another thing that's important is the height of the take profit and stop loss boxes. So as I said before, I've set these to be 4% and 2% for the stop loss and take profit. So 4% equates currently to about 0.05 on the ratio. But obviously, if you're using an asset that's got a much different denomination, let's say you're doing Bitcoin, you don't want to trade Bitcoin when it changes by 0.05, because that's basically nothing. So yeah, these percentages basically tweak them to how you like, and as you change these and the other settings, you'll get different performances on the benchmark. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think. I will, as I said, I'm just finishing testing it and tweaking, dialing everything in. But I just thought I'd give you a sneak preview before I publish it. Thanks, everyone. Bye.